All right, everyone, so we're back now. I've cut out my shape. I even cut out a little addition for the little white that's on the tip of his ears. I didn't cut out this last piece, and that's because I want to remind you that when you have really intricate details, if you cut out a large area first, and then you come back and you cut out those finer details, you're going to be a lot more successful. So, and it's best to try and not to rip out the paper. Try and just overcut the area just a little bit so that it just falls out naturally when you've cut it all the way through. So notice how I keep my helper hand away from what I'm cutting, and I'm just finishing up that last piece. Okay, so scraps go in your scrap pile. My scraps from making this, there's still a pretty decent chunk of paper, so this is what I cut it out of. I'm going to keep this in my nice neat scrap pile. I can even put that inside my sketchbook so that I have it for later. Okay, so one of the things I want to do before I glue any of this on is I want to go through and I want to lightly try to, while holding my paper, try and erase some of these pencil lines that I have showing, because I don't want to have any of those pencil lines showing on my final project. And I have a big pencil line right here off of Ham's ear. Remember, Ham is my cat's name. Okay. So, once you have that all ready to go, you are ready to glue it on your project. So first of all, always check and make sure before you glue anything down that you're happy with what it looks like. I'm actually okay with a little bit of that orange sticking out. It looks very natural to me. And then this little white piece up here will go on his ear, just like that. And notice how I kind of changed the shape of his ear. That's totally fine. That's just fine. Okay, so whenever you are gluing, you always want to make sure you are gluing the object you are putting down. So I'm going to put this object down on here. So notice how I check to make sure it fit, then I flip it over, and then I'm going to do this technique that's called dot, dot, not a lot. So I'm doing little dots of glue. I'm doing dots of glue on the edges, and then about every finger's width, about a finger or 2 fingers width apart. And I'm just doing it around the edge. So I'm going dot, dot, not a lot, dot, dot, not a lot. And then maybe I'll put like 2 in the middle. So I'm putting little dots of glue. And if you have a glue stick, that's fine too. But I'm putting little dots of glue. So now I'm going to flip it over. And what's really cool about most of this glue is that most of the time it dries clear. So even if you accidentally make a mistake like I did right here, when you're gluing, I'm just going to press it down now lightly. When I'm happy with it, I'm going to press it down in the rest of my areas and all the way around. I can wipe off that extra glue with my hands. I can even rub my fingers together and it'll start to kind of pill up. That's totally fine. My recommendation is that you flip it over, you rub, 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 make sure everything's attached really nicely, and then you flip it back over, and that should be attached really well. And then again, I'm going to do that last same thing on this. You check and make sure it's the right direction, then you flip it over, you do a couple dots of glue, dot, dot, not a lot, like that. Take this, flip it around, hold it with your helper hand, and there you go, press it on. You can even wipe off the extra glue. All right, my friends, so this is what we're working on right now. If you need to start adding other details on, I need to add the pink of the nose. My recommendation to you is anytime you're using a sheet of paper, especially if you're using small details or making small details, always start at the edge of your paper. So if I wanted to draw Ham's nose, I'd start right here at the edge of the paper, and notice how I even have it kind of overlapping where I'm going to go. And I'll change over to the marker so you guys can see. But I want to make sure, first of all, I'm looking at the image so I know what this area of the animal's body looks like, but also I'm using the edge to make sure I don't waste paper. And I do the same thing. I'm going to do pink in his ears, so I'm going to trace around where his ears go and try not to get it on my white area. So tracing there, and then I'll trace it over here as well, and then I'll cut out those details. All right, so one of the very last things that we're going to do with our mask is we're going to make it three-dimensional. So we want to keep everything flat until the very end. All right, my people, I hope you have great fun, and I look forward to seeing these. All right, everybody, have a good one.